The Chicago Bears have a draft steal, and he's showing mutual interest with the team during the combine. And the guy that I'm talking about is North Dakota State's Gray Zabel. This is a guy that absolutely shined, was probably the biggest standout at the 2025 Senior Bowl. And he's continued to impress teams throughout this draft process. And we're talking about a guy who's had a really fast rise. He's garnering interest throughout the entire NFL, and it's mainly due to one thing: his positional versatility, the way that he plays tough. And that's something that even he considers extremely critical to who he is as a player. So, who is he as a player? We're talking about a guy, let's just talk about his senior year. In 12 regular seasons games, he played 752 reps and had a 93% overall grade. Only allowed one sack all year, only two penalties. And just today at the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine, he confirmed that he did indeed have a formal interview with the Chicago Bears. And you guys know who the Bears are in this process. We are a team absolutely desperate for upgrades all across this interior offensive line. And it was a mutually great meeting for the team and this versatile weapon. Couldn't talk for a second. But before I get to the combine interview, let's kind of look at the way that he showed out at the Senior Bowl. That's really why he's moving up draft boards. And former NFL tight end and analyst Clay Harbor, he's a great reference for the Chicago Bears, and he appeared on 670 The Score during the Senior Bowl, and he dubbed Zabel as quote unquote the perfect guy for the Chicago Bears. And he looked like the best guy on the line during most of the practices during the Senior Bowl. And let's just hear it straight from Clay. I got the perfect guy for the Chicago Bears, and this guy is from North Dakota State, Gray Zabel. He was a tackle in college. He played right and left tackle. He comes out here and he moves to guard. North Dakota State product, and he starts playing guard and center. And I'm not kidding. I don't think this guy's lost a rep all week. And I think Zabel as a player, he can check so many boxes at multiple positions as the Chicago Bears figure out this offensive line. A lot of this is going to be dictated by free agency. You guys know that. But he was really intrigued by the possibility of playing with a quarterback like our very own Caleb Williams. What Zabel said about his meeting with the Bears: it went well. They're really a talented football team. I absolutely love the quarterback. I love watching him play, and being able to watch his highlights and understand how special his talents are, pretty cool. And you guys know what some of these talents are. William possesses the ability to be able to extend plays at a high level. And that presents issues for those blocking in front of him, right? So it was clearly evident his rookie season. He was sacked. Oh man, I hate even saying it. He was sacked a league high 68 times, and many of those were caused by him extending plays too long. I mean, I'll definitely acknowledge that. But when asked about how he would handle a situation like this, Zabel said all the right things. And this stuff is important. This is straight from Gray. To understand what kind of quarterback you have is super important. I know the talents Caleb has are pretty remarkable. His feet, unbelievable. But at the same time, there is pros and cons. Understanding who you have behind you, what you got to do, because at the end of the day, your job is to protect him and make sure that he doesn't get touched, no matter how he plays behind you, right? Let's kind of look at a retrospective of his career at North Dakota State. And this is a school that is low key just churning out offensive linemen that are pro ready. We've got guys going in the second and the third round lately. Zabel started at left tackle in 2024, but during that year, he logged snaps at right tackle, left guard, and right guard during the 2023 season. And at the Senior Bowl, he really showcased his ability because he showed that he was proficient to line up at center as well. And that versatility, it skyrocketed him up the charts a little bit. You might be looking at a late day one. I really don't think he's going to go in the first round, but early day two is absolutely perfect. And that puts him right in the range of where the Bears are. We have two early second round picks. Thank you once again to the Carolina Panthers. Man, that trade just keeps on giving. A guy's so versatile on the offensive front. He even this is kind of cool. I like to share little tidbits like this. He shared a secret talent at the combine, and that could be low key enticing to new head coach Ben Johnson because he's a gadget guy. So this is more from Zabel. I played quarterback until the 8th grade year, and then they saw my body frame and said, go have fun on the offensive line protecting people. Forget about quarterback. But I think throwing a football is kind of a hidden talent of mine. Maybe a team sees that. And if the guy lands in Chicago, this could be a low key advantage because that's something that Ben Johnson has showed that he's able to do. If you've been paying attention to Ben Johnson's offense in Detroit, he's kind of the king of trick plays, and he's even allowed Penei Sewell, his right tackle in Detroit, to throw some passes from time to time. And this is more from Johnson. The best part of that was that he threw a dime every single time in practice. This is Ben Johnson talking about Sewell earlier in practice last year. We probably took that for 3 weeks. I mean, it was a dime. It was better than some other people. Jared Goff, it was a pretty darn good job throwing on the move. The guy's just a freak. And I might be getting a little too far ahead of myself here, but you can kind of envision a play that Zabel's able to throw the rock in Chicago, kind of catch the other coaches in by surprise. That's what head coach Ben Johnson really likes to do. We'll see if the Bears even get an opportunity to snag this guy in the second round, but he's definitely an enticing piece of the puzzle here. And you're looking at, once again, this is going to depend on what the Bears do during free agency, but we've got a plethora of draft picks. I always like to use the word plethora. That's the word of the day. We have a plethora of draft picks. We have our number one draft pick, 10th overall. And then we have these 2 early picks in the second round. And you could very easily see, especially without Trey Smith available, I really think that we should go offensive tackle, offensive guard in the first round. I mean, you can convince me that we could do otherwise if we absolutely load up in free agency. Let's say we get Dahlman at center. Let's say we get a guy like Becton at guard, throw in another guy, maybe Kevin Zeitler to be a placeholder for a couple of years. There's so many different scenarios that you can see happening. Will Fries from the Colts. Sorry about that. He's a fantastic plug and play for that spot too at guard. And if you look at the actual raw stats before that injury, Fries, he was looking at like one of the top 2 or 3 guards in the whole NFL. And he was actually grading out higher than Trey Smith. So I think the Bears are really going to be looking at the medicals for Fries to see how he's recovering from that leg injury. But you could very easily see the Bears getting in a position that we could really take the best player available. We could maybe go defensive end. I don't want to go Ashton Genty. Let's forget about that. I'm not even going to entertain that. But you could see the Bears going defensive end at number 10. And then this is such a deep draft for guards and tackles. And somebody like Zabel, he could be a fantastic pick in the second round. Even if we went Simmons in the first round, even if we traded down actually and got Booker or Simmons, we could double dip and get a versatile guy like Zabel. If we get Drew Dahlman at center, we fill in at guard. Zabel could be a guy who could actually be our center of the future or a guard of the future. Just a really good investment. And I think he's starting to rise up draft boards for a reason. I think he's really good. You guys let me know what you think. You always are free to comment on the message board, and I always comment back. But yeah, let's keep it fun there. Bear down, and let's